I don't even know how to say this, but I think my stepdad is a total creep. Like the kind of guy you see on the news. I know that sounds awful, but hear me out. Ever since my mom left on her work trip, Mike's been acting weird. He's always been kind of quiet and awkward, but now, it's like every little thing he does screams, red flag. First, I caught him watching me. Not just like passing glances, watching. I'd be in the kitchen, and I could feel his eyes on me. I'd turn around, and he'd look away, pretending to clean or whatever. Then, a few nights ago, I walked into the living room, and he slammed his laptop shut so fast it made me jump. And then there's the basement. He's been spending hours down there, locking the door behind him. I heard noises coming from behind that door, soft, muffled sounds. At first, I thought it was just the boiler or something, but I don't know. It sounded human. I told my best friend about it, and she said, "Emma, what if he's hiding something or someone?" And honestly, that's all I've been able to think about. Last night, I decided to find out the truth. I waited until Mike went to bed, then snuck downstairs. My hands were shaking so bad as I tried the basement door, but of course it was locked. I pressed my ear to the door, and that's when I heard it again, crying. I whispered, "Hello? Is someone in there?" And then, out of nowhere, Mike grabbed my shoulder. I screamed so loud I thought I'd wake the neighbors. He looked at me, his face completely blank, and said, "Emma, go back to bed." I tried to ask him what was going on, but he just stared at me. And then, without another word, he locked the basement door again and walked away. I barely slept that night. All I could think was, who's crying down there? Part 2. The truth. The next day, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know what was behind that door. Mike left to run errands, so I grabbed a bobby pin and picked the lock. It took forever, but eventually, I got the door open. The basement was pitch black, and the air was cold and damp, like it hadn't been touched in years. I crept down the stairs, my heart pounding in my chest. And then I saw it. There was a boy, maybe 15 or 16, tied to a chair in the corner. His face was pale, his eyes wide with fear. I whispered, "Oh my God. Don't worry, I'll get you out of here." I started untying him, but before I could finish, I heard the basement door slam shut. Mike. He came down the stairs, his face pale, his hands shaking. "Emma, stop. You don't understand." I stood in front of the boy, holding my hands out like some kind of shield. "I knew it. I knew you were a creep," I shouted. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Mike didn't move closer. He just looked at me, his voice low and calm. "Emma, listen to me. You have to step away from him. Now." I turned back to the boy, who was shaking and crying. "It's okay," I whispered. "He's not gonna hurt you anymore." But then the boy growled. I froze. It wasn't just a sound. It was deep, guttural, and wrong. I turned to look at him, and his eyes, they weren't normal anymore. They were glowing, this unnatural yellow color. His body started twisting, his fingers stretching into claws. I stumbled back, falling to the floor. "What the hell?" Mike didn't waste a second. He stepped between me and the boy, swinging a hammer I hadn't even realized he was holding. "Get upstairs, Emma," he shouted. I couldn't move. I just sat there, frozen, as Mike fought this thing. It snarled and lunged at him, but Mike didn't back down. "Gio!" he yelled again, and somehow I managed to get to my feet and run upstairs. I locked the basement door behind me and sat on the kitchen floor, shaking. Check the account for part 2.